Yeah, you did.
Okay.
They're right over here.
Okay.
Left them
good.
on
You
this.
couldn't find them. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on your page, but I don't know where to go.
Hey everyone, it's just on my Facebook page. You just have to go to that, and you'll see me there. Hey everyone, it's me. I'm here causing trouble. I have my buddy John in the background, so I can say "Here's Johnny" and kind of go with it. And I'm expecting Mike to be showing up in the relative future, near future. Let's see. Just making it so that everybody can see this. Not what I wanted. It was edit audience. That's what I wanted. No public. Okay, so that's now good. Facebook is public. Yay. And I'm here to be a general pain in the ass as usual. Yeah. Sorry I didn't get to stream yesterday because, I was playing Magic. You want to turn that down. Very down. Otherwise, we'll get reverberation and echoing.
Sorry, I thought I had it off.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I ended up playing Magic yesterday. And I haven't played Magic in like months. So I really enjoy it. The thought with some of the things that I would kind of do is start off with a few blobbies, and then I'll kind of go into working on some stuff. But I wanted to kind of give myself a little bit of a warm up, even though I've been doodling a little bit already today. But hey, it'll be fun. But while we're waiting for Mikey, Dr. Midnight, where are you, Dr. Midnight? We're calling for you. Yep, no, don't see him. He's not there yet.
He's doctoring.
He's doctoring. Yeah. What is he doctoring? Images. Dr. Midnight's doctoring images. Right then. Let's get to the arting. All right. So this is a little messed up from cats. Okay. The world is shaking, and there's a giant hand. There we go. Okay. Cats, they're known to cause problems with technical difficulties. All right, let's take this and pull this shit back. Oh, I think maybe. Dr. Midnight. We can't see you or hear you. Hello?
Hello?
No, huh?
Oh, I know why.
You are so low.
How about now?
That's much better.
Now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you a lot better.
Okay, I just didn't want to echo.
Okay. Did you turn on the noise cancellation stuff?
Where's that?
It should be like right. It's by default. It's turned on.
Let's see. Why is it? Oh, start virtual camera. Source. That work?
I don't see you. I'm just playing with cameras.
Sorry, I don't
You have to
understand.
make sure you have the virtual camera selected in Restream.
OBS virtual camera?
Yep.
Yep, selected.
Okay. What does OBS look like?
OBS, let's see. I have my virtual camera on OBS. I have output type to source. It should be on program default.
Well, in Restream.
In Restream.
Yeah, you need to have the OBS camera selected in Restream.
Yep, it is.
Okay. Because it ain't. Now, what do you see on your screen in OBS?
On OBS,
Yes.
I see myself.
Okay, because we're not seeing anything.
I see that.
I brought up the settings for the virtual camera. Output type is set to source. Should I do the program, see if that works?
Give me 1 second.
I got it going.
You do. Let me see.
I had to like flip between.
Oh yeah, I see you now.
I had to flip between the directly to the camera to OBS.
You there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you froze. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
All right. So, what you gonna be working on?
Let's see. This.
Oh, this is very nice. It's looking very good.
Thank you.
Oh, damn it, Mikey. You've gotten a lot better.
That took me about a few hours, like 2 or 3 hours.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's just one panel, and I just reduce it to panel size once I get the other panels going.
Yeah, I find that kind of crazy. But hey, if it works, it works.
Well, Bernard Chang said to try that, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to argue with him. So, Bernard Chang is freaking incredible. So, and he's your buddy. Trying to put a few things in play. There we go. That'll vaguely work. So I'm working on blobbies, which is what I'm going to start with, and then I'm going to go and do some other stuff. But I'm kind of doing some stretching, as it were.
Yeah.
Try to get some stuff rolling here. And we'll see what we can do. And give it a quick look for some poses to get some references from. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right. Now then, one of the things about doing these types of poses and all that, this is, again, as I've stated, I don't try to do real anatomy. I do action figure anatomy. So I definitely kind of overdo it in a lot of places. And I find that doing stuff like this, I can, well, lets you cheat on the foreshortening a bit because you're just overlapping stuff. You working on something new?
New panel.
Ah. Now, I usually do these on a computer. But I'm kind of showing how you can do it without using the computer. This is like how I do all my basic breakdowns and all that. Is I get it started on this. She's technically holding a gun. If I was to do, it's also her from behind in the piece. So. If I was to do this digitally, one of the ways I could differentiate some stuff is I could do a different color over it to denote like clothing and things like that, or just kind of like items. Of course, she's wearing some like crazy heels, but hey. But we're just trying to get fast poses, and then what I'd do from here is I'd reduce the opacity and then find center and kind of draw into it. One of the things about the blobbies is they're not perfect. They don't need to be perfect. They just need to give you kind of an idea of a base. Glad I'm not showing this piece because that's a new guy. And he's decently endowed. But yeah, it's kind of cool just to do a few of these things and see where we're gonna go with it and have some fun. I'm amazed the girl was wearing clothes. So what do you got to say about your book there, Mikey?
What I gotta say about it?
Yeah.
I got like
Talk about your shit.
it's I got another 12, 16 pages to go.
Well, that's good.
Then I was thinking last night that maybe I should add another
30.
Yeah, something like that, because I think I should add like a third story to the anthology.
Oh, you do another anthology piece. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The first story I took apart from a unprinted book. I didn't really want to have printed because it just didn't work for me ultimately.
It was what?
Didn't work for me ultimately, so I just
That's good.
I finished it, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna. It doesn't work for me. I want it to represent me.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so this guy's kind of laying down on a bed here, and you got that fits over here. He has this massive piece that we're not gonna show. Guy's smoking a cigar, lighting a cigar pipe. That didn't help much. Yeah, so I'm using quickpose.com just to get some quick ideas of laying out stuff, and then blobbing it in, and then just doing the Sharpie to quickly get something kind of going. Might help if I could see what the chat was. Nothing in the chat. Okay then. No, you didn't even see the thing I just did because I had it off screen. I'm a great host for everybody here. So that's the guy laying down. I will keep that in mind when I'm doing this. That I have things kind of cut off a little bit because we've got a guest. John, why don't you say anything? You're playing the game, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought so.
I have to get my glasses, otherwise I won't be able to see anything.
Oh, look. So they're right over there, I think.
I just didn't want to.
You can walk.
Yeah.
You can walk behind me. Nobody can see you.
Oh.
I don't have the camera. The camera's covered, and I've switched just to my arting mode, where it doesn't have my mug, as I put it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be down your way on Saturday, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll be seeing Lilo and Stitch with Marie.
Thanks.
And I think with Cullen and Rocio. And John, if you want to join us, you're welcome.
I have to work Friday and Saturday night, unfortunately.
It's the holiday. Forgot about that.
And because of that, I get to work Wednesday right through to Monday.
Well, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. You just told me about that today.
Well, isn't he a right bastard?
Hmm. Yeah, they change the schedule every time the truck falls on a holiday. We have a truck the week before on Friday and no truck on that Monday. So whatever holiday it is.
Memorial Day.
Oh, is that what it is? I don't know. All just days.
So, Mike, if you want to join us too, you're also welcome. If I didn't say that.
I appreciate the offer.
Yeah. This guy's basically sitting down, so you get like the part of the chair here. Can't really see his hands, but I'm gonna put a little bit there, maybe. Yeah. He's technically lighting up a cigar, but I'm just trying to get fast silhouette poses, so blobbies. Oh, that one's kind of neat. I'll call it with this. We'll do these a little smaller because there's 2 on this one. I'm liking that, Mike. It's looking good.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So I noticed they're doing a prequel series to It.
Really?
Yeah, and it's done by the guys who did the movie.
Huh.
Matter of fact, it's a 9-episode series, and the director of the movie is doing the first 4 episodes. And they even have Skarsgård returning as Pennywise.
Oh,
And it's set in the 1960s.
Huh.
I admit, I watched the trailer. I'm kind of curious.
that's interesting.
And traditionally, if I'm really trying to do a warm up, I would probably do this for about an hour. If I was really trying to get something going. Yeah, so something you could do with these if you wanted to, if you want to do it with felt tip pen and not like on the on your computer or whatnot, you could lightbox them and kind of go from there and basically draw over them in a light box. Which if you have a tablet, you can use that as a bit of a light box if you want. Just make sure that you're not pushing down too hard on the pencil. Or just get a light box, which you can get the light pads right on Amazon. They're pretty cheap.
Move on to the. Oh, I should
Hmm?
I was saying I was gonna move on to the inks, but there's something I gotta fix.
Oh, you turned it to red.
Yep. It's easier to see than blue line.
Yep. No, I do the same thing. I find red much easier to see. So those would be my construction blobbies that I would do for something. So got here is a few of them.
Nice.
And they're just fun little quick things to do. Again, you can just use a Sharpie, you can use whatever to kind of do it with, and go from there. That. I have too much crap around me sometimes. So this is Zebulon, who is a part of an old webcomic I did years and years ago. Like almost 20 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was very long lasting too. I did effectively 10 issues worth of it. And that was back in the old hosting days of can't remember the site's name. I don't believe it exists anymore. The guy who made it to do it his name was Joey Manley, and he had started this whole thing with monetization of webcomics, And one of the ways he did it was he got a bunch of people who he thought their stuff was awesome and basically said, hey, let's do this. And people were like, yeah, I'm going to do that. Like Scott Kurtz was actually a part of it. He was doing something about his love life with his wife. I don't think it went more than like a week, like a total thing. He didn't really have a very long running thing on that. But that's where I met. Well, I was following him beforehand. But this very particular up and coming comic or artist, this is where I first met him. Well, I was following him on his website, then I switched over to this thing where you could read his stuff there. And he did this little comic called The Makeshift Miracle, which is by far one of my favorite comics to date. It was utterly amazing. Given the creator, Mr. Jim Zubovich, this before he was known. It was back in the days when I used to hang out with him for a little bit at Gen Con. So Jimmy Zubs.
It's a pretty neat story.
Yeah, it's how I met him, and I used to basically be like a webcomic only person for quite a while. And I did my space opera series, which was, in all honesty, heavily inspired by a comic strip that I drew when I was in junior high. And this is one of my villains. Zebulon. Named after the guy who found Pike's Peak, or who climbed Pike's Peak. Zebulon Pike. And I thought Zebulon sounded like a cool name. And of course I spelled it Z3BUL0N.
Of course.
And that was before I had heard of things like Leet Speak. So they didn't have Leet Speak when I was in junior high. And I couldn't call the comic what I called it back then, which was Invasion. I think DC would get a little mad at me.
No, never.
No, they probably never would notice, but why risk it? Probably kind of a short stream today. Well, I was in Boston at a medical appointment earlier.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but I felt bad that I missed yesterday because I ditched everybody to go play Magic. I'm a mean girl. I am. Should make a movie about me. Call it Meanie Allison. Meanie Alkat. I'm sure somebody would agree that I'm a mean person. Yeah, so this is a very retro future kind of series with stuff because it's one of my favorite ways to draw things. Should say retro science fiction I just love. It would also today be called Atomic Punk.
Atomic Punk?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Atomic Punk. I used to think the classic kind of 50s science fiction. Flash Gordon would kind of be a part of it.
Yep.
Buck Rogers. Even those are technically Sword and Planet, but whatever. Nobody's really keeping track. Yeah, no, I did this. This guy's changed a lot since I first started drawing him, but he's maintained the same basic design though the entire time. Somebody asked me where could they learn to draw like this with one of the style of art, and I said, well, I was heavily influenced in my childhood by Garfield. I love Jim Davis's artwork. And the other person I was hugely inspired by was Bill Watterson. So Calvin, Hobbes, and Garfield were definitely major influences on me growing up and doing stuff like this. Just checking the stream stuff. Okay. I almost put the G pen in the pencil sharpener. That would have been a little amusing.
Oh,
Actually, before I do that, I should probably do that fist. But yeah, I was giving some thought about something that we were chatting about in the last time I streamed, where I was saying I was drawing Star Wars stuff, and I said I'd love to draw Star Wars. And you're like, I just want to do stuff like, with my own properties. If I had an idea for a property, I just try to make it my own.
Yeah.
And I was kind of doing that with my comic strip, and it got me thinking about it a little bit. If I ever revisit it, what would I do?
Uh-huh.
So when it really comes down to it, I mainly just want to draw lightsabers. People fighting with lightsabers. And I thought, what if I made it just more like, one of the things about in this comic strip was that everybody had lightsabers, because lightsabers are cool. And, it was a swashbuckling type thing. So I'd just do something like that. I'd just give them all lightsabers and then kind of just do the story that I want to tell with it. I mean, people have like blasters and stuff too and whatnot, but this, I would probably insert some realistic science fiction into it, of the sense of why they use swords and things is because you don't want to put a hole through the spaceship.
Uh-huh. Makes sense.
And, I was thinking the other thing about it is if I just make it kind of more like a martial arts movie in space. I mean, I could have like the Jedi Knight type stuff. Just, you have people who know different techniques and do different things. I mean, Zebulon here, he fought with a lightsaber. Actually, his fingers could change into like blades and stuff like that. Which at the time I thought was really cool. he carried a lightsaber. As I said, most of the villains did. They had a sword. And I was thinking about the original script of the Star Wars. And one of the things was during the fight where they attack what became, the Tantive 4 at the beginning of Star Wars, the stormtroopers get on board. One of the troopers goes, switch to your swords, men. We don't want to blow a hole in the hull. And all the stormtroopers had swords. They were literally the little bumpy things on their backs. That was supposed to be the lightsaber, the original idea. And they kind of changed them. It was kind of at their, lower back. One of the things I found very amusing about the filming of the original Star Wars was Peter Cushing. The boots didn't fit him. So he didn't wear them. There's only a couple of scenes where he's actually wearing boots in it. And basically they couldn't get any... They had to make sure that all the shots that featured Peter Cushing with Carrie Fisher were, stage right, so you get both of them in frame. Carrie Fisher is tiny.
I think he's like 6 foot something, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a big guy. I don't think he was as big as his friend Christopher Lee, but he was pretty big. But yeah, the boots he had didn't fit right, so he wore sandals.
Mm-hmm. There was a regulation wear on the Star Destroyers.
Yep, definitely. Lucas couldn't really argue with them either. He's just like, no, I'm not wearing them, George. He's like, well, it is Peter Cushing.
You have to be comfortable when you're conquering the galaxy.
Yep. It's still me. I can still talk about Star Wars. Wouldn't stop me anyway. Yeah, so if I ever go back to this and revamp this story, because I'm a much better storyteller than I am now than when I was in junior high. At least I'd hope so. And the comic strip definitely had some issues. I mean, I had my Sludge the Slime Ball in it. Which there's an entire race there just known as slime balls. And Sludge was definitely a slime ball. He had his he hid out with one of the characters at his place because, nobody knows where he lives, even though the government told him he had to register. I kind of left it at that.
This panel is done.
What?
I think I got this panel done.
Well, it's looking good.
Thank you.
So what's the story you're working on? Tell us something about it.
This particular story in the book is someone who encounters goes to a concert when they're a kid. They encounter the band. They become motivated or inspired, you could say, to get into music themselves, and then but they don't see things when they look around themselves. They don't see things right like other people do.
Yeah.
It's pretty short, relatively, story though.
Well, it sounds interesting. Your stuff tends to have a dark fantasy vibe to it, so. Or strange science fiction. Kind of the outer limits.
Yeah, I described more, but it would give away too much of the story.
No, it's fine. No, I watched that Hellboy movie, The Crooked Man.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
I actually liked it. That was fine. I mean, I was like, well, it's supposed to be a very accurate interpretation of the comic, so I was like, oh, check it out. I definitely liked it. I don't really remember the story. I'd have to probably go back and read it to give it a total, to see how close it was. But, I mean, from what I remember, it seemed kind of close, but again, I haven't read it since it got published. Actually, that might be a character I'll draw on stream. Hellboy. I haven't done Hellboy. I haven't drawn Hellboy in like forever. I think I was working for Verizon when I last drew Hellboy, and that's
A long time ago.
yeah, 8 years. Yeah, I was literally sitting at my desk, and I was working on order stuff, so I wasn't taking calls, and I pretty much completed all my work for the day. And I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to take calls or anything. I was part of the order group, and yeah, so was talking to some people, and it was like, who should I draw? And I had somebody who was like Incredible Hulk, so I sketched out the Hulk. And one person's like Hellboy. I'm like, okay, I drew Hellboy. God, I hated that job.
Fortunately, I drew the pencils the other day, or yesterday rather, for this panel, so
No,
it should go fairly quickly.
it's looking good. You're getting more consistent with your faces and everything.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Hmm.
If you hear anything from off the microphone outside, let me know. I can lower the sensitivity of the microphone.
No, I haven't heard anything. Not that worried about it anyway.
Outside.
I live in the backwaters of nowhere, so we get all sorts of weird noises here. I definitely think I'm getting better with the G pen.
G-pens are neat. I've used them before.
Yep. I said back when the editor was like, "Can you use a G pen?" Yes. Yes, I can. I haven't drawn with a quill since like the 90s. I don't even remember the specific nib I was using either. It wasn't this one. Might have been a Hunt 102, which I think is what the whatchamacallit, that's the mapping pen. That's a Hunt 102. Which is called. Can't think of the name of it right now. The Marrow pen, I think. Yeah. I could be wrong. All I remember is the G pen's the Hunt one, but hey. I know I was using a smaller nib, so.
I'll be right back.
Don't threaten me. Okay. So my quasi thought process right now is I might draw for about another 15 minutes or so, in this case ink, basically until I get Zebulon done. And I'll call it a day. Going into the doctor's today was not fun.
What was his doctor's visit for?
Not something I want to discuss on the
Oh, I'm sorry.
stream.
No, doctor's visits are never fun.
It was MS related.
Oh, okay.
So, Mike's been doing everything digitally for a while now. I have to hand it to him. I said, I started doing everything digitally back in like 2018, and I must have stayed doing like digitally primarily until probably last year. I was hanging out with probably 2023, like mid 2023, late 2023, somewhere around there. I started to go more back to traditional stuff, and I mean, I'll completely admit because I was hanging around with Dave, so he may have rubbed off on me a little bit. I did have one editor ask me, it's like, you're like Dave Finch's apprentice. Why don't you draw like him? I'm like, I would say he was a mentor. I wouldn't say I was his apprentice. And I love Dave. I love his art. I don't ever want to draw like that. It's not me. I was more of a Mike Turner girl. Well, it really came down to it of the image of kind of going there. I mean, in that I was much more of a Joe Madureira person. I'm just more for the stylized anime kind of stuff. Or I want things to look cartoony. Like with this, I was saying to the guy who asked me about it the other day, it's like, where'd you get this? And I said, oh, it's inspired by my love of Mega Man and later Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank wasn't a thing, but Mega Man was. Played the hell out of Mega Man 2. Oh, Ratchet and Clank's a great video game series. Absolutely love it.
Oh, okay. That might be why.
Yeah, absolutely love it. It was introduced on the second PlayStation, I think. And I really admire the character you've posted. It looks fantastic as a 3D artist specializing in character modeling. I love the opportunity to bring your concept to life. If you're in need of a custom 3D model, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be happy to discuss your project further. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate that, Adam. I can't afford anything now, so because I fit the stereotype of the starving artist.
2AT.
Yeah, pretty much.
Through no fault of your own.
Nope. It's probably because I got, well, disabled.
Might have something to do with it.
A little bit. I admit I'd love to have like a 3D version of this guy that I could like pose and things. I think that'd be great. Make my life easier. People like to call that cheating. I like to call it cutting corners.
There you go.
One of the things about drawing traditionally is you really can't rely on using 3D stuff though. So
Yeah.
if I was going to make a manga out of this or something like that, I would probably build a few things in 3D myself and then kind of go from there. I'm not really good at making people though.
What, 3D?
Yeah, I can make objects relatively easily, but I'm not really good at sculpting people. I mean, because truly, ideally, I want to make a cartoon. And I've looked into several programs about doing it, because I don't really want a 3D cartoon. I want 2D or 2.5D, I should say. Something a little bit like Blue Eye Samurai and Into the Spider-Verse.
That would be cool.
Yeah, this guy would definitely look kind of cool in 3D. Yeah, if he was in 3D, I could animate him and then rotoscope the animation in some ways too. Actually, no. Actually, if I did it like in Blender, I could just make it a grease pencil thing, and that would work, and that would make it kind of 2D-ish. get that very sweeping, but yeah, whatever.
Okay, I'm back. And it looks like there's an Adam Ajala that commented about your.
Yep. Yeah, I read it. Yep, I did. I thanked him, then pointed out that I'm a starving artist. So I couldn't afford to pay him. I don't want to assume he's a scammer, but I also do know that is a common thing that people try to spam with.
Hmm.
And scam. But I don't want to assume. I will admit, I think he'd look really cool as a 3D character. I think he does fit the model that, he would be kind of neat. But like I was saying, one of my main inspirations for when I drew like this, aside from like the comic strips and all that, was Mega Man. No, particularly Mega Man 2, because I loved that video game. I played the shit out of that game. I always loved the 20XX for the date. Actually, we're getting on to about an hour, and I really need to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to end the stream here.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. And the goal will be to have a longer stream on Friday, hopefully. Which, Mikey, if you want to join me, you'll be welcome to.
Sure.
And but until then, I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. Have a great one. Bye.